produced the only motion picture that he took credit for production, a movie that was going to be bigger than Gone with the Wind, a terrible film called I Take This Woman, which was begun in 1938 and stopped, begun in 1939 and stopped, and begun again in 1940. It quickly became I Retake This Woman. And Hedy didn't even know the English language. Spencer Tracy was her star in that movie, and he was very upset with Louis B. Mayer for putting him in that film to support what he thought was Louis B. Mayer's girlfriend, and he did not like making that movie, and Hedy did not like making that movie with him either. And the movie, it made money, but it bombed. It didn't make back any of the monies that Louis B. Mayer thought he was going to get with her. He quickly put her in another film with an equally beautiful actor named Robert Taylor, Lady of the Tropics. That movie too bombed. But Hedy took a chance. She wasn't a stupid woman, and she didn't suffer fools. And to her, Louis B. Mayer was making a fool of himself and mishandling her career, and she was dead right. So she took a chance. She asked for a supporting role in a movie called Boomtown with Clark Gable and Spencer Tracy once again and Claudette Colbert. She stole the picture. She knew what she was doing. She wasn't stupid. She learned English. And she changed her look slightly, so she wasn't this marble, cold goddess. She actually had character in her role. And great things from that moment on were ahead of her, so they thought. In 1940, Hedy was worried about her mother, who was still in Vienna, and wanted, through Louis B. Mayer's help, she was able to get her mother transported over to Canada for a while before coming to live with her in Hollywood in 1942. But Hedy had great concern of what was happening in Europe. And more importantly, she was focusing on her career. And she had read a series of articles in Esquire magazine about the development of the endocrine system, or how to increase your bust line. And she read these articles written by music composer, bad boy of music, George Antile, who was a bit eccentric, and because his avocation was the study of the pituitary gland, and he wrote articles for Esquire magazine about that, sometimes under a pseudonym. Hedy obviously read those, and through Adrian, MGM fashion designer Adrian, and his wife Janet Gaynor, she arranged a dinner party where she sat down with George Antile and asked him what he thought of her breasts. And he graphically wrote about this in his own autobiography, Bad Boy of Music, and one thing led to another, one thing led to another in conversation, and Hedy invited George Antile, who was very happily married, over to her home to talk further about this, and they started talking about the fact that prior to the U.S. entry into World War II, torpedoes were missing their marks, and they just were not able to hit or destroy shipping in the North Atlantic, German shipping in the North Atlantic. So they worked on a project. Hedy sat many boring evenings listening to her husband, Fritz Mendel, in Vienna, talking to his cronies about the possibility of wireless communication to get that Hitler was trying to develop, to get these weapons to hit their marks. And Hedy's concern about what was happening in her homeland in 1938. Germany did exactly what Hitler said they were going to do, and they annexed Austria. And in his manifest Mein Kampf, he clearly wrote in the very first chapter what he intended to do with the Jews in Vienna. So there was serious concern now that Austria was part of Germany. There was serious concern on Hedy what was happening to her family. And she wanted to do something for the upcoming war effort. So she and George Antile worked on a patent, which they did take out a patent in 1941 for wireless communication. But the government didn't have a clue what to do with it. So they kept the patent. thank them very much for their dedication for the war effort. Hedy went on to participate in the very first war bond drive in 1942, and she singularly, more so than any other actor throughout the war, male or female, she singularly sold more war bonds in one day than anyone else. And that was, I think, $9.2 million worth of war bonds. During this campaign, I had the opportunity to watch newsreel footage and film shorts at UCLA and USC of Hedy during this campaign. And she was far more intriguing and far more fascinating and truly far more beautiful off-screen than she was on. She was sincere and she spoke from her heart, and she wanted to do something for the government. She told Antile, why can't I just, or told Louis B. Mayer, why can't I just go to Washington? They can ask me questions and I can give them answers because I have a lot of things on my mind. No, she was beautiful, so she was supposed to stay in movies. The title of this book, Beautiful, The Life of Hedy Lamarr, is ironic because she was much more than beautiful. In her era, when an actress was beautiful, not Bette Davis, not Joan Crawford, they were never called beautiful. They had their moments, but they were never beautiful. Hedy Lamarr was beautiful, and a lot of people thought she was stupid. And she even said, any woman can be beautiful, all she has to do is stand still and look stupid. And that's kind of a sad commentary because women today just don't buy into that, and neither did Hedy Lamarr. And so of all the film goddesses, all the film actresses of her era, she is indeed possibly one of the most unique, because what is the legacy of Hedy Lamarr? Well, I could go on and tell you the whole story of her life. There are moments that are very, very sad. There are moments, she was a complicated woman. There are moments that were very, very happy, very, very exciting. But she was very human. And a lot of people did not know that she had made this invention. Segue to the Cuban Missile Crisis, 1962, when the government sent out ships to blockade Cuba. They readdressed that invention that had sat and went nowhere. It had expired. Hedy and Antile had actually died in 1959. And in 1959, that's when Hedy's rights to that patent expired. And in 1962, they readdressed it, and they thought, we've got to find out some way that our ships can communicate with each other without the Russians getting the message. So they looked at the invention again, and they worked on it. By then, transistors had come into being, and they were, our government decided, Westinghouse in particular, decided to work on the invention and try to bring it into perspective with the modern science of that day. In the 1960s, late 1960s, during the Vietnam conflict, they readdressed it again. And surprisingly, the Hedy Lamarr Markey, she was married to Jean Markey when the patent was done, Hedy Lamarr Markey and George Antile invention became the nucleus of every cell phone in existence today, Milstar defense satellite, and every Wi-Fi in existence. 1997, 3 years before her death, the international scientific community recognized George Antile and Hedy Lamarr for their contribution for one of the most important scientific discoveries of the 20th century. And they did say Hedy Lamarr possessed one of the most intelligent minds of the 20th century. She thanked them very politely. It did not change her lifestyle. And in 2000, she died. So the legacy that Hedy Lamarr has left us certainly was not only her beauty, and films that begged to be looked at again and again. I had 3 people tonight, 3, tell me, when I get home tonight, I'm going to watch Ziegfeld Girl again. And I might do that myself. But her films are wonderful to watch. There's intelligence behind that lilting Viennese accent. And I think I've done a proper job with beautiful. I wanted to definitely make my point that film actors, their careers have been important, especially during the golden years of Hollywood. They created our society. What we are today, we might laugh and say, oh, no way, but yes, they have. And so my proper job is done. Beautiful. I hope I found a voice with Hedy Lamarr, and I hope that when you read the book, that you hear her talking through its pages. I did want to say that October 21, Robert Osborne, who did the foreword to the book, Robert Osborne is doing an evening of Hedy Lamarr films. If you have the opportunity and get Turner Classic Movies, please watch that. Just to watch the films, because she's fascinating. And there's a lot of